Imagine the world as you know it, the comforting familiarity of your surroundings, the bedrock of your reality, suddenly, violently, and irrevocably torn away. Not a gradual fade, but an instantaneous, brutal rupture. A place of safety, a haven of routine, transformed into a desolate, alien nightmare. A landscape of pure, unadulterated horror. This is not a dream, not a fleeting nightmare. This is the harrowing reality of the drifting classroom. Prepare to witness a descent into the very depths of human despair, a journey into the heart of madness, where the lines between sanity and oblivion blur and dissolve. This is not a story for the faint of heart. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, students. My name is Kiroro, and I will be your biology teacher for this dissection. Long before the chilling narratives of Junji Ito, the unsettling visuals of Hideo Nakata, there was Kazuo Umezz, a true pioneer, an architect of horror, a master of psychological horror. His works are not mere stories, they are visceral experiences, explorations of the darkest corners of the human psyche. He has created some of the most disturbing and thought-provoking horror manga ever created. His influence on the genre is immeasurable, with even Junji Ito stating that he was a massive influence into his own passion in horror. His unique artistic vision, his ability to tap into our deepest fears, has shaped the landscape of horror manga, leaving an indelible mark on the genre. Within his vast and terrifying oeuvre, the drifting classroom stands as a chilling masterpiece, a testament to his unparalleled talent. Imagine an ordinary elementary school, a place of learning and innocence, suddenly and inexplicably ripped from its familiar reality, thrust into a desolate, post-apocalyptic future, a world ravaged by time and human folly. A world where survival is not merely a struggle, but a brutal, unrelenting battle against the very forces of nature and the darkest impulses of humanity. This is the chilling premise of the drifting classroom. This is not a tale of heroes and triumphs, but a harrowing exploration of children forced to confront the darkest aspects of humanity, the raw primal instincts that emerge when civilization crumbles, and the terrifying realities of a world gone irrevocably wrong. The drifting classroom is far more than a mere horror story. It is a profound and unsettling exploration of the human condition, a chilling reflection of our darkest impulses. It delves into the depths of despair, the fragility of societal structures, and the chilling consequences of our actions, both individual and collective. It also acts as a stark warning, a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked environmental destruction and the potential for humanity to destroy itself. This manga challenges us to confront the darkness that lurks within ourselves, the primal instincts that lie dormant beneath the veneer of civilization, and the terrifying potential for humanity to create a world of its own destruction. Beyond the specifics of any one era, the drifting classroom taps into something far more primal, a deep-seated fear that has haunted humanity since its inception, the fear of the unknown, the terror of being adrift in a world beyond our comprehension. It explores the anxieties that resonate across time, the fear of isolation, the dread of losing all sense of control, and the chilling awareness of our own fragility in the face of an indifferent universe. This manga draws on the same wellspring of fear that has fueled our oldest myths and legends, the stories we tell to grapple with the darkness that surrounds us. It speaks to the universal human experience of confronting the abyss, the terrifying realization that our perceived reality is a fragile construct, easily shattered by forces beyond our control. This is a story that reaches beyond any one time period and speaks to the core of what it means to be a human and to fear what we cannot understand. Before we continue, we will not be covering every chapter of the Drifting Classroom. We will mainly be dissecting some of the core events with our final thoughts at the end. Also, this is your official spoiler warning, as we will be going through a decent amount of the main story. We begin not with a bang, but with a quiet hum of the ordinary. Yamato Elementary School, a place of routine and predictability, stands as a microcosm of everyday life. But Umezz masterfully weaves a thread of unease into this normalcy. We are introduced to Sho Takamatsu, our protagonist, a young boy already grappling with emotional turmoil. His relationship with his mother is charged with a tension that hints at a deeper instability, a crack in the foundation of his world. This initial focus on the mundane, on the everyday, serves a crucial purpose. It establishes a baseline, a sense of what is about to be irrevocably lost. Umezz doesn't rush into the horror. He takes his time, grounding us in the lives of these characters, making us care about their ordinary existence. We see the familiar interactions between students and teachers, the small dramas of school life. This carefully constructed normalcy will soon be shattered, leaving a void that amplifies the terror. Look closely at the early panels. Umezz subtly hints at the coming catastrophe. A slight tremor, barely perceptible, disturbs the classroom. The sky darkens imperceptibly. These are not just the background details. They are foreshadowing, a quiet warning that the world is about to tilt on its axis. The earthquake doesn't announce itself. It begins as a subtle tremor, a ripple in the fabric of their reality. But Umezz quickly escalates the intensity, plunging us into a maelstrom of chaos. The panels become a whirlwind of emotion, mirroring the disorientation of the characters. Desks shake, walls crack, and fear erupts. This is not just a natural disaster, it's a rupture of reality itself. Umezz's artwork is crucial here. He uses distorted perspectives, dynamic angles, and exaggerated expressions to convey the sheer terror of the event. We are not just watching the earthquake, we are experiencing it through the eyes of the characters, feeling their fear and confusion. The soundscape here must be a raw, visceral assault on the senses. Imagine the earth's guttural groan, a deep, resonating hum that vibrates through your very bones, a primal sound of destruction. Then the sharp, ear-splitting crack of shattering glass, like a tearing of reality. itself, followed by the raw, untamed screams of pure, unadulterated panic. These sounds aren't mere background noise, they're a symphony of chaos, a cacophony of terror that plunges the viewer directly into the heart of the earthquake's devastation. It's an auditory manifestation of the world falling apart, a chilling reminder of the utter helplessness of those caught within its grasp. This earthquake is more than a physical event, it's a symbolic one. It represents the shattering of their world, the loss of all that is familiar and safe. The school, once a bastion of security, becomes a vessel adrift in an alien sea. When the dust settles, they find themselves in a world transformed, a landscape of desolation that defies comprehension. The familiar school building stands isolated, a fragile island in a sea of the unknown. The sky is a strange, unsettling colour, and the air is thick with an unnatural stillness. Umezz uses the wasteland as a character in itself. It's not just a backdrop, it's an oppressive presence, a constant reminder of their isolation and vulnerability. The vastness of the landscape dwarfs the school, emphasizing the insignificance of their existence in this alien world. Pay attention to the details in Umezz's depiction of the wasteland, the strange formations, the remnants of a lost civilization. These elements hint at a dark history, a past that holds the key to their present predicament. The environment is just as much a threat as any monster. The characters' initial reactions are a crucial part of this arc. We see the shock give way to fear, the confusion turn into a dawning realization of the horror of their situation. Umezz captures the raw emotion of these moments with unflinching honesty. This arc is not just about the physical displacement, it's about the loss of innocence, the children thrust into this nightmarish reality. They're forced to confront horrors they were never meant to see. Their understanding of the world is shattered, and the seeds of trauma are sown. Umezz begins to explore the breakdown of social order. The initial shock gives way to fear, and fear breeds conflict. We see the first signs of tension among the characters, the beginning of the struggle for power and control. The wasteland is not empty, it holds dangers both seen and unseen. Umezz introduces these threats gradually, building a sense of unease and foreshadowing the horrors to come. The first glimpses of these horrors are terrifying. This arc sets the stage for the rest of the story. It establishes the characters, the setting, and the central themes. It's a descent into darkness, a journey into the heart of apocalyptic horror. Arc 2 opens with a chilling descent into madness, focusing on the unraveling of Sekia. The relentless pressure of their situation, coupled with the constant threat of danger, has triggered a rapid deterioration of his mental state. We witness the early stages of his breakdown, the subtle shifts in his behavior that foreshadow the darkness to come. He becomes increasingly agitated, his eyes darting nervously, his words laced with suspicion. The lack of resources and the constant fear of breaking his mind. Umezz uses Sekia's descent to explore the fragility of the human psyche under extreme duress. The distorted visuals and fragmented imagery reflect the chaos within his mind, the blurring of reality and delusion. His actions become increasingly unpredictable, and his presence casts a dark shadow over the group. He hoards, he accuses, and he withdraws, creating an atmosphere of tension and fear. He represents the first signs of how the wasteland breaks the human spirit. His character shows the speed that a normal person can be changed by the horrors around them. In contrast to Sekia's descent, Wakahara attempts to shoulder the burden of responsibility, striving to maintain a semblance of order amidst the chaos. He tries to provide comfort to the children, to offer a glimmer of hope in the face of overwhelming despair. But the weight of his responsibilities is crushing, and the constant fear and exhaustion takes its toll. He's forced to make impossible choices, to prioritize survival over morality, and the strain begins to show. Umezz portrays Wakahara's struggle with a quiet intensity, highlighting the internal conflict between his desire to protect and his growing sense of helplessness. His face, etched with worry and fatigue, reflects the burden that he carries. He's a symbol of the adult's attempt to hold onto the last vestiges of civilization, but the wasteland is slowly eroding his resolve. He represents the struggle to keep humanity in a world that is trying to take it away. He's a counterpoint to Sekia and shows that the two people can react differently in the same situation. With the groundwork laid by Sekia's unraveling and Wakahara's struggle, we now turn to the physical battle for survival. The school, once a sanctuary, becomes a prison, its walls closing in as supplies begin to dwindle. We witness the agonizing reality of deprivation, the gnawing hunger, and the burning thirst portrayed with raw intensity. It forces us to feel their desperation. This is a siege, a relentless assault on their bodies and minds. Umezz masterfully portrays the psychological warfare of scarcity. Every rationed meal, every precious drop of water becomes a source of anxiety, a ticking time bomb counting down to their inevitable demise. The characters' faces, etched with worry and exhaustion, reflect the growing fear that they are trapped in a losing battle. The tension is palpable, a suffocating atmosphere of dread. But the wasteland is not content with mere deprivation. It unleashes its predators, the mutated creatures, grotesque and terrifying, emerge from the shadows, transforming their already desperate situation into a relentless hunt. These are not just animals, they are manifestations of a world gone wrong, a constant, immediate threat that lurks just beyond the school's walls. The attacks are sudden and brutal, a savage reminder that they are no longer at the top of the food chain. Umezz uses the creatures to amplify the sense of danger, to show the raw savagery of the world. The environment itself becomes a predator, with dangers that are not alive, but are just as deadly. The creatures are not just monsters, but they are symbols of the broken world. Arc 3 introduces a crucial element of hope amidst the overwhelming despair, shows Mother's psychic connection. Across the vast expanse of time, she senses her son's plight and begins to reach out. These moments are not merely convenient plot devices. They are a lifeline, a thread of connection that transcends the desolate reality of the wasteland. The connection between Sho and his mother is not always about physical objects. It is also about a deep emotional bond. When Sho is in great danger, he feels the raw emotion of his mother's fear and her determination to protect him. This connection allows Sho to find an inner strength and to act in ways he normally would not. A rusty knife found in the wasteland becomes a tool for survival and a symbol of his mother's protective love. This is shown when Wakahara, pushed to his breaking point, turns on the children, a moment of terrifying betrayal. Sho experiences a surge of psychic energy. This impulse, a psychic echo of his mother's fear and desperate resolve, gives him the mental fortitude to act. He finds the knife and uses it to protect himself and the others. This is not just a lucky coincidence, it's a tangible manifestation of their connection, a testament to the power of their bond across time, and a demonstration of her unwavering love. This emotional connection and the items found because of it become a symbol of hope in a world that has lost all of it. Driven by a desperate need to understand their situation, the characters begin to explore the wasteland, searching for clues and answers. This is not merely a physical journey, it's a quest for meaning, a desperate attempt to make sense of the incomprehensible. The visuals become more investigative, focusing on strange artifacts and cryptic messages. The characters' attempts to decipher these clues are portrayed with a sense of urgency, as if they're racing against time. These moments of discovery offer a glimmer of hope, a sense that they are not entirely powerless in this alien world. The clues that they find paint a dark picture of the future. The search for answers becomes a search for hope. They are looking for reasons and for ways to survive. Amidst the wasteland's desolation, the characters don't simply wait for hope, they actively forge it. They recognize that survival is not just about physical sustenance, but also about maintaining their humanity and creating a sense of community. We see them working together to rebuild, to create a semblance of order amidst the ruins. They are not just survivors, but builders, crafting a new existence from the remnants of their old world. They share their knowledge and skills, teaching each other vital survival techniques and preserving the cultural heritage they carry. They create routines and rituals, establishing a sense of structure and stability in their chaotic world. This is not just about survival, it's about reclaiming their humanity. These acts of creation and cooperation are not mere glimmers of hope. They are defiant acts of resistance against the encroaching darkness. They demonstrate the enduring power of the human spirit to find meaning and purpose even in the face of unimaginable adversity. They are not just waiting to be saved, they are saving themselves. Arc 4 brings us to the culmination of the mystery, the unveiling of the truth behind the wasteland. Umezz pulls back the curtain, revealing the devastating consequences of humanity's actions, the environmental catastrophe that led to the apocalypse. The future is laid bare, a stark and chilling vision of a world consumed by its own hubris. This is not just a backdrop, it's a warning, a cautionary tale about the fragility of our planet. The characters' reactions to these revelations are crucial. We see their shock, their grief, and their dawning understanding of the gravity of their situation. This arc is about the confrontation with reality, the moment where the characters and the readers are forced to face the consequences of their actions. This reveal changes everything. Amidst the bleakness of the revelations, we witness the emotional crucible of Shou's final moments. He, our protagonist, carries the weight of his experiences, grappling with the loss of those he cared for and the stark reality of the future. His journey is one of profound transformation, a process of coming to terms with the unimaginable. We see him find a sense of closure, a quiet acceptance of his fate. The remaining characters too navigate their own emotional landscapes. They find solace in each other, their bonds forged in the fires of adversity. They share quiet moments of remembrance, owning those they have lost and finding strength in their shared experience. These are not grand gestures, but small, intimate moments that resonate with profound emotional depth. They are a display of the human spirit to keep going even when everything is lost. This arc is about the emotional journey, Shou's final steps, and the lingering echoes of those who are gone, and the impact that they had on those who remain. The ending of The Drifting Classroom is not a neat, tidy resolution. It's a bittersweet conclusion, a haunting reminder of the fragility of our world and the enduring power of the human spirit. Umezz leaves us with lingering echoes, questioning that resonant long after the final page is turned. The manga's themes, environmental responsibility, the consequences of unchecked ambition, and the enduring power of human connection leave a lasting impact. The symbolic imagery in the final scenes reinforce these themes, leaving the viewer with a sense of unease and a call to action. The Drifting Classroom is not just a horror manga, it's a cautionary tale, a mirror reflecting the potential consequences of our choices. It is a story that makes you think and that makes you feel. This arc is about that lasting impact, the message that remains after the story ends. It is a story that will stay with you long after you finish it. Now that we've reached the end of dissection, it's time to give it a final grade. We will be grading it based on these 5 categories: story, character development, art style, themes, and finally, emotional impact, with all of these receiving scores between F and A to give us an overall grade. Also, if you've made it this far, please consider giving the video a like and subscribe, as I intend on making many more of these and you won't want to miss. The story, we started with an A, but as the story progressed, especially a lot during the second phase of the manga, it also seemed to degrade in quality quite a lot, with a lot of it feeling like it was random event 1 into a random event 2 with no real flow. almost like we were getting bombarded with stuff and never getting a chance to breathe in between tense moments. This works in some cases really well, but unfortunately here it did not for me personally. Also, there were a few things that weren't ever explained. For example, there's a boy whose imagination creates a monster that attacks the group, but it's not explained why, and feels almost like a filler to keep the action going. There's also the link between Sho and his mother, which is explained poorly by being linked through one of the female classmates. This also never really develops or is explained, and seems like it was mainly used as a convenient plot device to get the characters out of trouble when Umezz could not think of anything else. For these reasons, the story gets a C+ overall. Character development was decent, with a heavy emphasis on Sho, Sakiko, and Otomo, with Sho and Otomo standing out as the two most interesting characters, almost as if they're two sides of the same coin. Sho trying his hardest to keep the peace, and Otomo rebelling, almost falling completely into the chaos of the world. Some other characters are introduced and initially have a decent introduction, but unfortunately they're never truly fleshed out as characters. This applies especially with Yuichi, a young boy who was not a student at the school but was trapped there as well, and Nakata, who was introduced as the link between Sho and his mother with his psychic powers, and is also Sho's love interest, but spends less time in the story than Sakiko. For these reasons, character development gets a B-. For some people, the older art style is a massive deterrent, and it usually is also the case for myself, but with Umezu's work, it's a rare situation where I thoroughly enjoy it. His art was also a big part of what kept me reading, as the monsters, the characters' expressions, and the environment were all detailed so well. Umezz truly was an exceptional artist. His art style, it's an A. For themes, we have to be a bit lenient, as for its time it was incredibly unique, but compared to today's standards, a lot of it has been done time and time again. I enjoy its parallels to Lord of the Flies, with both examining the breakdown of order and descent into chaos. It also dips heavily into environmental issues and the fragility of civilization. Both of these topics were well ahead of their time, considering it was made in 1972. Themes gets a B for that. For emotional impact, it's an interesting case where both we as the reader and the characters almost become accustomed to seeing the world. It starts off with children's deaths being such a shock, especially in scenes like when the younger students are jumping off the roof, or when one student is crucified in the middle of the grounds. But as the story progresses and the characters become more used to the horrors of their world, we also do, with scenes like cannibalism and tribal warfare in the later part between the students, leaving less and less shock and more of an unwanted acceptance. For these reasons, I give emotional impact a solid B+. With all these graded now, I can confidently give The Drifting Classroom a B. Whilst not outstanding by any stretch of the imagination, The Drifting Classroom is still an enjoyable classic, and with less than 50 chapters, it's a nice read on a lazy day for any horror fan. I look forward to seeing you all in the next class, and until then, keep your scalpels clean and forceps ready. for the next dissection.